Okay, no? Okay, let's get this meeting started. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record reflect that Director Gentilini is not here. He did call me and told me that he was not going to be here. And also let the record reflect that the meeting did start at 6:09. Okay, p.m. that is. 4.0 is student representation. We have none at this point. 5.0 agenda additions and deletions.
Mr. Chair, if we could add an already on agenda 12.4, discussion on academic advisory committee.
Okay.
And then didn't you want to pull
Not that consent agenda yet.
9G
Yeah.
out of the
that.
consent agenda?
You can do that when you get to the consent agenda.
Oh.
Okay, so just on the additions, we have just adding 12.4 to there. Okay. I need a motion for that, don't I?
No.
To approve that? No? Okay.
So approve
It's been a
the
long
agenda.
day for me.
You can approve the agenda or not approve
Okay.
it on 7.0.
Okay. 6.0 visitor input. I do believe you had somebody signed up for visitor input. Do we to go on to the podium, state your name and all that fun stuff.
Okay, I'm Dana Markusich, and I have something that I need some help understanding from the board. And I'm going to ask, I'm a little unprepared. I'm going to ask that you guys, if you can pull up from the Minnesota Department of Education website, the MDE website, the statutes. If you have an iPad or something, I don't know if you can do it or not. Okay. I'm looking at laws regarding transportation of non-public students to a school outside of the district. Okay, and I'm requesting mileage reimbursement for my kids. I'm transporting 4 of my children to a non-public school outside of the district. And my understanding, I've been looking at the laws, I've been reading the statutes on MDE, and I'm trying to understand how I can get mileage reimbursement. I know that there's laws pertaining to this. Okay, there's rules and guidelines. And from my understanding, Virginia reimburses parents, Chisholm reimburses parents for transporting their children, their resident children, to a school outside of the district, okay? My understanding is that the reimbursement would be from, say, your home to the district boundary, okay? Now, if you're able, I wish I had the copies of the statutes, but I don't have them with me. And I don't have my phone to pull up anything online. But I am requesting mileage reimbursement from my home to the boundary. My understanding is that the boundary is Crossroads. The nearest boundary would be Crossroads gas station on Highway 37. Okay, and from my home, it is approximately 13 miles. I don't know what the mileage is, how much is paid per mile, but I have 4 children that I'm taking to a non-public school outside of the district. And I would like mileage reimbursement. And I believe that it should be per child and it should be each way, there and back. Now, if I would like to go over the laws with you guys. I'd like to understand exactly how it's interpreted and how you would all interpret it yourselves. I've spoken to the Department of Education down in St. Paul, and they told me to take it to the board. I've talked to Mr. Carey couple of times. I've spoken to the district transportation manager, whatever, Mike, his name is, I believe. And Mr. Carey has told me that he said, we will transport your children for you to the border. He said that is what we are required to do, is transport the children to the border. And that border, like I said, and as he told me, is Crossroads gas station. Now that's as far as Eveleth will go. And my children are going to a school in the Hibbing district. And Hibbing will go as far as Thirsty Moose, is it Thirsty Moose Cafe on Highway 37? So there's the whole big area between, it's like 15 or 20 miles, I don't know exactly, between Crossroads and Thirsty Moose. So Hibbing won't go past that. Eveleth won't go past their border. So it doesn't really matter. Mr. Carey said that we will transport your children to the border. That's what Mike said. We'll transport your children to the border. And the border is Crossroads. So what then?
Well,
What do they do? Just drop them and leave them?
Well, how is the statute written, I guess? How is it written, Jeff,
If
do you
you,
know? I mean, if the statute
can
is-
anyone pull it up and read it?
I don't know
can't
that
get
we
in my
should
iPad,
get
but
into a legal discussion here.
Right, okay, well, we'll tell you what, we can,
I would
can
like
you
to
have
be,
Mitch look into this, Jeff?
Sure.
Okay.
the whole, I understand, if there were, Cherry is between, so you can't, there's a district between Hibbing and Eveleth. You know, I'm willing to transport my kids myself, but I would like mileage reimbursement is what you're willing to offer. And if it's only 13 miles to whatever, if I'm getting reimbursed for 13 miles to Crossroads, that would be fine. You know, I'm not expecting to get reimbursed from my house to the school itself. I would just like to get reimbursed from what I'm entitled to by law, and I believe that that is to Crossroads gas station.
From your house, okay.
To
Your house
Crossroads gas station. It's about 13 miles, and 4 children there and back.
So why don't you use the public transportation as it's written? In the statute, or something,
There
you
is,
mentioned
it doesn't work,
take them out to the border.
because how are they gonna get to their school?
Well, that's the choice, I mean, I guess, I don't know, we'd have to talk to the legal counsel on
Yeah,
that,
I'd like
just to
to-
see how
Will
we'll talk to we'll have the school attorney look into the statute. We can't speak for how the statute is written.
Okay, that's kind of what I'm requesting, that people
Okay.
look into it, and I'd like to be a part of that discussion as well and hear what he has to say. And I would like, to, I guess, bring my case before him as well, whoever it is.
Okay,
Okay, so,
I think I found the area that you were referencing, so
Okay.
we can certainly check into it further.
okay, so when can I be expected to hear from you guys?
well, that'd be all contingent on how soon the attorney can look at how the statute's written. And
So,
then he can-
is someone going to call me and let me know, or should I? I started talking to the district about this back in July, the week of July 1st. I know there's something in the statutes about talking, early on in the school year or whatever. And I did start this communication process back in July, so,
Angie, you call Mitch tomorrow and be in contact with Dan.
Okay, we'll have our attorney look into it, and then I
Okay.
guess have the school
One
attorney.
of, someone from administration.
Yeah.
okay,
Do they have your contact information that they can?
I'm sure they do.
Okay, all right,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
thank
Dana.
you. Okay, any more public
No.
visitor input? Okay. 7.0, approve the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of 12.4, a discussion on the Academic Advisory Committee.
And I will second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 8.0, approve the treasurer's report for the second check writing of August and the month of August and the first check writing of September.
For the month of August, check rating, total disbursements is noted in your packet of $171,315.98. I'll go to the check writing for the month of September 2019. It doesn't indicate this, but I assume it's the first check writing. Total disbursements of $88,381.16. Treasurer's report for the month of August, total receipts of $1,621,038.35. Disbursements, $425,073.16. Payroll, $551,940.19. Current balances in Miners Bank, $3,840,860 $3,840,867.90.
Bless you.
Thank you.
First National Bank of Gilbert, $2,061,368.46. Total, $5,902,236.36.
So can I get a motion to approve the treasury report as presented?
I'll move.
Second.
Approved by Director Sather, seconded by Director Yuhan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.0 consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in your board packet?
Mr. Chair, I would propose that you pull G out and move it to 10.0.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of G.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Director Sather, second by Director Yuhan. Any discussion?
I just want to know what it is because unfortunately I am locked out of my iPad.
And I-
Extracurricular.
Okay.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have a quick question. Can we just kind of divert for a second? Did you say 12.4 was going to be about board committees that we added?
About Academic Advisory
Advisory
Committee.
But that is already under 12.2.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good catch.
Well, I just thought I maybe heard wrong or wrote wrong. Okay, that's okay.
12.2.
12.2 is about,
She does have a good point there.
Okay, it's the board committees, yes.
Okay.
Appointment of board committees.
okay,
Yeah.
that's,
Thank you.
Okay.
So I will amend my motion.
yours is
No, you
okay.
don't have to
Yours
amend
is
it.
okay.
I
That
don't
part's
have to?
over with.
It was just a
Okay.
clarification.
It is what
Okay.
it is.
All right.
So we had 10.0 items removed from the consent agenda, which was,
Do we have to
yeah,
vote on the consent agenda now?
Okay, you got to vote on the consent
Yeah.
agenda.
10.0
Or
consent.
did you?
We
No, we
did,
did not.
we did.
We didn't do the F, I
10.1.
don't believe.
We did?
Did we?
What's that?
Okay.
We did the vote because then that's
Yeah,
when
you did.
Holly
Okay.
asked right away, yeah.
So we're 11.0, correct?
No, we're in 10.1 because we pulled
Oh,
G
that-
out.
So then that's G.
Okay, 10.0.
G is coming around. Put your grab it there, though.
All right. Long day.
Yeah, me too.
So this is.
Grab the staple part.
This is
There you go.
10.1, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you about before you made a move on this, there isn't anything out there in left field as far as the only change is the fact that Stace Landwehr and Lee Zeke are now doing the yearbook. No, they might have done that last, did you guys do that last year, that way? Never mind. I think everyone else is the same, but the part of interest, Virginia has requested that we combine speech teams like this winter, as well as one-act play, so we would host those two activities in exchange for our kids could go there for robotics and dance line. What that would mean is one-act play is probably fine, but speech, we'd probably have to hire at least an assistant. The goofy thing right now, though, is they had posted, have they hired anyone yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we're fine there. They had posted for a speech advisor. And the thought going forward was that we would each have a head coach on a single team, and I'm not a big fan of that. I would just assume we're hosting the thing that we have a head coach and an assistant coach rather than two head coaches.
Me too.
So that's the only, and I guess, I mean, if anyone has any objections to doing stuff like that, I mean, this would be a good time to say that. But numbers dictate that it's probably a wise thing to do. They don't, we haven't had robotics in a while, so it'd be good for, if we do have some kids that are interested, they could participate. They haven't had one-act play. They haven't had a real strong speech team either, so.
And I think the opportunity for a dance line too would be
Yeah, and
great
then there's that.
to do again.
So I guess I would just have the question, if we are going to do that, what would be the plan going forward with sports teams as well, like head coaches, we would have, how would that work?
Well, that's a discussion that we're gonna have
If we're not
What day is it?
consolidated yet?
on Wednesday of this week, because, again, differing opinion. I mean, I don't feel that we should have a head coach from Virginia and a head coach from Eveleth. I mean, if one person needs to be in charge. The guy over in Virginia that fills my seat feels otherwise, so we're gonna have to come to it.
So does that, well, you guys said you have a meeting on that,
Yeah.
but
We'll let you know.
would that mean start with a clean slate and people have to reapply and,
I think that's probably the wisest thing to do. Well, I'll give you an example. So we are in discussions right now about combining boys swimming for this winter. They have a head coach and we have a head coach. They have an assistant, we have an assistant. And I'm not totally opposed to having 4 people coach swimming, but someone needs to be in charge. And we can't have a head coach from Virginia and a head coach from Gilbert at this point. So.
That's how it was presented at the joint coaches meeting last Wednesday, I think it was,
Yes.
that there would be a head coach.
one.
And that,
But if they are combined, I mean, do we look at kind of how many, I mean, if they're combined, it's because lack of numbers in either one or both the districts.
right.
And then, I mean, you look at, I mean, how many do you need?
4 coaches for 10 players, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, we've typically tried to go 10 to 1. And I would fully support continuing that ratio, regardless of where it was. I mean, it's gonna happen someday anyway.
Well, and I
We'll
think,
start.
yeah,
If
until
the
we're
expert-
consolidated, you know, there's, one of us is designated as the host. I would think that the host would be the responsible one for hiring of,
Right. Like, for instance.
just like speech. I
For
mean,
instance, we're gonna be the host of speech and one-act play, so that's our, we have to hire people.
and if they're hosting the robotics and,
That's their
exactly. So I think in the meantime, that's what I would continue to support, is who's ever hosting would be the one who would be having the head coach and everything else. And in the meantime, and then once we consolidate is when then we would look to other alternatives of opening it up, but that could be for a future conversation.
Yeah. We can just be updated on the conversation that happens on Wednesday.
I have a question. How would dance line work? Is dance line, we still have separate teams? And how would they
Dance
do
line is
it?
actually a high school league, it's a competitive sport now.
Oh, just for competition, they don't perform at any games and things?
Well, they might, but
So how would we work that with 2 different teams yet?
you still have your Barrettes and whatever they call them over
Oh,
in Virginia that
yeah.
do the in-school thing, but dance line's actually it's a competition,
Competition.
so I don't know that they necessarily do that. So.
Okay. That's
If they do, I
It is
would assume they'd do some Eveleth Gilbert and some Virginia.
different than Barrett's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in our district, do we have a shortage of numbers for one-act play
No.
or speech?
No.
So we don't
We've
have a
been
shortage,
strong.
so what's that going to do for participation? I mean, I know we're talking about shortage of numbers.
One act, he has struggled a little bit.
Yeah,
Speech did not
depending on what
struggle.
the play is,
Yeah.
or that they're doing.
Speech has been strong, but there's room to combine it, because you can, speech will be fine. You can have more than one competitor in it.
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, in one act play, can a district have more than one competitive one act play? Or would that be narrowing it down? Just one,
Yeah.
even if we combine, will that just be, we can't have two acts in the competition?
I don't know the answer.
Well, and would we have enough numbers, because it sounds like they haven't
Well,
had it?
They haven't
We
had
have.
it.
Yeah.
They haven't had it, but I
And
remember
if our
we've
numbers
always
have
had
been
enough.
a little tight.
We've had it, and I know that he does struggle to get enough kids, like last year, there was actually one that was playing two parts. So,
Well,
I
that-
don't, we'll
That's
have to
just a
see how it
question.
goes. It's-
And then speech? We haven't struggled in speech,
We
have
haven't struggled in speech. They don't have great numbers in speech, but speech is, like I said, you can have more than one person in a category, so it'll be fine. Speech will be fine.
And we did talk to Mr. Gutzmacher about the one act play and about speech, and he's excited for the
Logical.
co-oping with it, yep.
Yeah, okay, that's just a question.
That's all I have on that topic. If you wanna go ahead and approve this group, the numbers on them are updated to the new contract.
The only other thing is the Nelshin Junior High PM detention, there's nobody listed there.
Correct.
So are we looking for that person?
I don't know what you're doing with that.
We don't have anybody right now.
You don't have anybody.
Are we
No one's
gonna be-
misbehave.
Huh?
No one's gonna misbehave.
That's right, otherwise we'll call Matt in there.
Again, I mean, in the past, I've brought up that concern, and I would like to see somebody in that role, rather than having everybody in the secretary's office and space.
We don't disagree with you.
Okay.
On that note too about detention, am I mistaken in the AFSMI contract? If there's something that's crossing over, is that detention for the AFSMI and or ISS?
Depends how many hours it is. Like in the high school, it's under 10 a week, so it's what do we consider that? It's an extracurricular assignment off the teacher's schedule. I'm not sure where they came up with that number. There's a lot of goofy things in that supervision section. I couldn't even begin to tell you where some of those numbers came from. I think Polly has an idea of it.
Well, all I'm saying is, are we
But
mixing
if
and
it's over,
matching?
well, if it's over 10 hours a week, then yeah, it has to be in some unit. We don't currently have anywhere for them to go.
So do these amount to more than 10 hours a week?
The ones that are on the sheet don't.
They don't. Is this something, or is it just ISS that the AFSMI is looking to
It's not sure.
ISS, but we already have ISS under the teacher's schedule, see?
If it's under 10 hours.
Okay, so it's not just detention, well, is that ISS? That's different than detention,
No,
right?
it's basically the same thing.
The same thing?
Just what you call it.
Okay, so do we have any kind of a situation here with these assignments and with the,
No, there's nobody on that sheet that's over 10 hours.
okay?
Okay, so 10.1,
We had somebody in Gilbert last year that was more than 10, and that's why it came up. That person's not there anymore.
If it goes over though, then it becomes an
Yeah,
AFSMI?
okay.
Looking for a motion?
Yes, I'm looking for a motion to approve the 2019,
No, yeah.
no, 2020 extracurricular positions.
I will make a motion to approve the 2019-2020 extracurricular positions.
I'll second.
So motion by Sather, Dr. Sather, second by Director Yuhan. Any discussion?
Just one more thing, my eyes went to it, I hadn't seen this before. So is this like for junior high speech? Are we approving the assistant at this point in time, or only if there's enough numbers, or?
That would be.
What's that about?
That would be if there's enough numbers.
And the enough numbers is going to be determined by Mr. Gritzmacher, or what?
No. Angie.
Okay, so, shall we pull that one out of there, and then, if and when that time comes, act on that one separately?
Has that person been in that position
Here,
before?
I'll tell you the history of it since I've been here. So when I got here, there was a senior high speech advisor, there was an assistant speech advisor, and there was a junior high speech advisor. We cut it down to 2 because of numbers. And that junior high speech also helps out with the senior high speech. I mean, they kind of work together. So yes, there will be enough numbers at least for that. If there are more numbers than those 2 can handle, then I'd ask you for a third.
And that would be a separate request, because
That would be
that's
separate.
not in here that we're
So let's
approving. It's just
pull that
putting
one.
it,
Yeah,
but it's not pulled, there's nothing in here that's,
Extra.
it's just saying, after Chris chats, it's just saying, you know,
Okay,
would like
then you would come
assistant,
back.
enough question numbers, yeah.
Then you would come back.
I don't
Right.
see that as an open position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on 10.1? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving along to personnel, 11.0. 11.1, approve the .5 FTE elementary special ed teaching assignment for Chris Moore.
Mr. Chair, Chris has been a title teacher for us for a number of years. We are looking at, we had 1.5 FTE of special ed in the elementary last year. The individual that did that isn't here anymore. She did a little bit in the high school, and she also did a high school math class. Right? It was like 0.3. So it's been 0.5. Ms. Moore would also like to keep her title position, which would make her full-time between the 2. Of course, there is a salary difference in the contract. Title is hourly, and the special ed assignment would be salaried. She is requesting, and it has been done in past practice, that she is just on the salary schedule for the whole assignment. We do have money in the title budget to accommodate for that, and she was our last resort for that, so I would recommend to the board that they go ahead and approve this.
All right, so 11.1, can I get a motion to approve the halftime FTE elementary special ed teaching assignment for Chris Moore?
I will make the motion.
Motion by Director Lotiger,
Second.
second by Director Schoberg. Any discussion?
How do you prorate the difference between a teaching salary and the title? Because they're a different amount of pay calculation?
Normally, but in this instance, because she will be 1.0 between the 2 positions, she'll be at a BA1 on the salary schedule.
And then that extra money from the title portion of the salary, what?
Half of it comes from title and half of it comes from our general fund, well, actually special ed.
I know, but so it's going to be full-time on the salary schedule,
Mhm.
but title is hourly, so the difference is going to be paid, but that will come out of title money, the difference?
Yes.
And we have enough money in
Yes, we
there
do.
for that? Okay. What about benefits? If she's only half-time special ed, that's salaried, how do those benefits get calculated?
As a 1.0.
Is that allowed?
Mhm.
Because she's only half-time salaried.
Even as a half-time title teacher, she has rights to benefits.
And those are prorated, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not quite understanding that, but if that's what you're saying.
We're hiring her as 1.0. That's what.
She's gonna be doing 2 different jobs within that one.
Yep.
So she's a full-time employee.
I know, but they're different. Yeah.
Well, I get that, but I'm firmly,
Just
if you're
asking.
a 1.0 FT, you should have benefit.
No,
Is
that's a
that-
good question. I don't
Yeah, no, I mean, like,
fault you for that.
And then where's the other half-time special ed coming from? Didn't we have a full-time need?
No, was she 0.3 last year in the high school?
.5.
No, because she taught a math class.
Oh, for special ed?
Yeah,
Yeah, .1 probably only, or .2.
.2, so we don't have less kids, so we're not gonna fill it.
Oh, okay, but did we post and advertise for full-time special ed?
We did,
But we're only filling a half,
correct.
because we don't have a need for another half?
We don't, well, it's not,
We're sharing Rango.
yeah, we had to do some sharing internally because nobody applied.
So who's sharing
We're,
what, Angie? Who's sharing what?
Well, Dave Rango, he's part-time in my building and part-time in his building. So my special ed needs are covered in the high school. I have 1.5.
Okay.
Any more discussion on 11.1? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 11.2, approve health services assistant position of Katie Peterson.
Mr. Chair, we advertised, of course, we had a dual advertisement for a licensed school nurse and an RN, either one. We did not have any licensed school nurses apply. We had 6 people apply. Otherwise, only 4 of them were qualified with an RN, and 2 of them decided to accept the interview, and the team chose Katie Peterson.
Can I get a motion to accept 11.2?
I'll move.
Motion by Director Sather. Get a second.
Support.
Support by Director Yuhan. Any discussion?
Okay, so without having a licensed school nurse, we don't have anybody in district that can approve the third-party billing. 'Cause, right?
Not approve the third-party billing.
Well, to
bill.
It's
to bill with a license, right?
certain functions. It's not all of it. I mean, the RN can do some of the billing, just
But some they can't.
some they
Just-
can.
Just, you know,
Just,
in general, some they can't. So.
I did make contact with Virginia because they do have a licensed school nurse. Try and share that license. I haven't got her response back yet, but that would be our only hope at this point.
So we'll still pursue that?
Yes.
With Virginia? And what if that doesn't work out? Will we be losing some money for third-party billing?
If we don't, we will lose a little bit of money on third-party billing, but up until last year, we never realized we were losing it anyway, so. Last year was the first year we've had a licensed school nurse for ever.
Is there a pay difference between our RN and our licensed school nurse?
Yes, the licensed school nurse is on the teacher's schedule, and an RN is hourly.
Does Katie have any desire to be a licensed school nurse?
She does. The other thing I would recommend here, now I'm looking at it, I forgot, you're supposed to nudge me. I put 6 hours a day at $22.17 an hour because that's what our previous health service assistant in Franklin was getting. But given she's got a bunch of medically fragile students right now that probably require, I would recommend we, at least for this year, we go to 7 hours a day, just to cover some of that stuff. It's only for the school year.
I support that.
6 hours doesn't cover the whole time the kids are here. 7 does.
So are there any other services that we won't be able to supply because we don't have a licensed school
No.
nurse?
Well,
Nothing medically for students?
we'll be fine medically.
So, any more discussion on that? So 11.2 is to approve the health services assistant of Katie Peterson at 7 hours a day at $22.17. Okay. Any more discussion on that?
Does that have an effect on benefits? 7 hours versus 6?
Sure, it's 6 hours is probably about 0.7 FTE and 7 would be 0.8 in that neighborhood, so it's prorated.
So they get okay, it'll be prorated anyway.
Mhm.
Okay, so 11.2, as amended with 7 hours a day at 22:17. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 11.3, approve Darlene Johnson for Title I position.
Mr. Chair, we have need for additional title help over on the Gilbert campus. We had one retire last year. Darlene was the only one that applied, so she has educational background, taught for 30-plus years in the county and other places. Be fine.
So I get a motion to approve 11.3.
So moved.
Moved by Director Gilbert,
Support.
support by Director Sather. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 11.4, approve Deb Worry for Executive Assistant.
I talked about this in the study session beforehand. We would be asking Deb to come into the district office here. And Denise, well, after that happened, I would post for the Gilbert position. Denise would go to Gilbert. There are a few duty shifts that would happen. Here's when Angie's supposed to nudge me again. We got the Star Report, the district newsletter, and there's one other thing. And Angie will find that there's going to be shifted into this office when
Local
Denise
time
goes over there.
studies.
What's that?
Local time studies.
The local time study, which is related to the Family Service Collaboration. Those duties would come here into this office when Denise goes over there, and she would maintain what she's doing as well. So, and both ladies seem to be okay with it, and I think it'll be a good move for the district at this juncture.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve 11.4?
I will make the motion to approve Deb Weary as the executive assistant, but also granting her a leave of absence from her current position.
I will second that. Any discussion?
I just, who will be in charge then of like season's passes?
Jojo.
Okay.
With that, when you said that when Denise moves over, you'll post and advertise for that position?
That'll be an internal posting.
Internal, yeah. Did we need to, instead of just shifting internally, do we or did we need to post and advertise even if it was perfunctory for moving into Justine's position?
We don't have to because it's an at-will position. There aren't any unions involved, so there's no posting requirements to it. I mean, we can.
I just wondered if we had an obligation like this other posting and advertising.
We don't have an obligation to it.
Okay. Any more discussion on 11.4? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 11.5, consider medical leave for Ruth Graham, paraprofessional.
Ruth Graham is a paraprofessional over in the Gilbert campus. If you saw her letter in the board packet, she's experiencing some health problems right now and has requested indefinite leave for a couple months at least from her para position. If the board wants to grant that to her, they certainly can. If they do not, she can write out her sick leave and would be done then.
Well, we can discuss it before we have a motion, which is not on the line, but
No.
we can do it either way. You sent along a copy of the contract language, and she wrote a letter explaining her situation, but it just, is the other requirement subdivision 2 that she'd need a written doctor's statement?
We do have one.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
got that, okay.
It's not real specific, it just says that she's under the doctor's care.
Okay. Well, then, I'll so move for the leave of absence.
Support.
So moved by Director Sorkin, support by Director Sather. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Wait, just a question. So she has or has not used all of her sick leave?
Not as of this moment.
Not,
Maybe 10 days left.
and then, so how does that work into the situation?
She'll use the rest of it and then she goes on unpaid
Okay,
leave.
she has to use it before the leave.
Yep.
Okay,
And then we will be looking for,
Yeah,
so if
find
this
out.
is granted, then we will be looking for a temporary
Yes,
position for this.
so,
Okay, any more discussion on 11.5?
do we want to add that to this motion?
no, that's good. It's just a sub, so it's not, it's not a permanent hire.
Oh.
It's just, we bring in a sub.
Okay, even though it's indefinite, it's like, are we holding her position for her? It's
You
indefinite?
have to, yeah.
Okay. Sub,
Did somebody second that one?
I
Yes, yeah.
Kelly
You
did,
did?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any more discussion on 11.5? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 11.6, approve school readiness teacher assignment for Julie Lindeman.
Ms. Lindeman is a recall. We laid her off last spring from early childhood and we need to bring her back.
So can I get a motion to approve 11.6?
I will make a motion.
Motion by Director Lotiger, second by Director Yuhan. Any discussion?
so at the end of last year, we didn't anticipate a need for this position? Is that why we later on now we're calling her back?
I knew the numbers because we hired her because we had a very large 4-year-old class last year. That's not kindergarten. We took one of those teachers and moved them into kindergarten this year, so that left a hole.
We didn't anticipate that at the end of last year, so that's why we laid her off.
Right. But I didn't know that we were going to be moving that one into kindergarten. And I knew the numbers would be smaller.
33 hours a week.
How big was the kindergarten or the 4-year-old class last year?
Last year was at 75-ish.
75-ish?
I got 77 kindergartners this year.
Yeah.
It's the largest class we've had since this year's 6th graders.
So did she have 33 hours a week last
Yes.
year too? Same,
Yep.
okay. All right, thanks.
Any more discussion on 11.6? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 11.7, approve early childhood education teaching assignment for Ellen Williams.
Ms. Williams is a Tier 1 license, so we had to lay her off in the spring. She does the 3-year-olds and the ECFE, some coordination of the program, so this is a kind of a yearly thing with her.
Okay, so I get a motion to approve 11.7.
Could we have discussion on this one before a motion?
Mm-hmm.
I just, everybody knows me by now. I'm the researcher. But if this is correct on her licensure, it doesn't say, it says the last thing was community expert of expired 6/29/19. So she qualified her license to do this?
She can get a Tier 1.
Well, I
No.
know, but it's not.
The old community expert license.
Right.
She had 2 years ago, and the state of Minnesota extended that for last year.
Yeah.
We didn't have to apply for it, but now she has to apply for Tier 1.
So but she doesn't have it yet. When does she doesn't have it according to this?
The application is actually going in tomorrow, so.
It's going in tomorrow?
Is that why it's pending licensure?
Yes.
Is that her name?
Yes.
For the Tier 1 specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
It says pending licensure?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you click on,
Oh, on that page?
on her, yeah,
Oh, on not that, okay.
and the recommendation for that year's form.
Okay, how about I'll make the motion, but contingent upon receiving licensure?
Good, no doubt.
Okay,
Yeah.
Support.
so motion by Director Sorkin, second by Director Sather. Any more discussion?
Thank you for bringing that up,
Yeah,
I can
so-
bring it up, it's come up in previous years too, so thank
So
you for bringing that up.
So she can actually start while this is pending? She can't do the job until it comes back?
Early childhood doesn't start until the end of September, so
Okay, so there's
time.
okay.
Any more discussion on 11.7? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, 12.0. 1, set date of truth and taxation hearing.
Mr. Chair, we typically only have one school board meeting in December, which this year is the 9th of December. If you wanted to set it for that day, we certainly can. If you'd like to pick a different day in the month of December, you can do that as well.
What was that day again, Jeff?
It would be December 9th would be our regular meeting.
I think that'd be okay.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so the truth and taxation would be set for December 9th.
You just gotta
At?
make a motion and pass that.
I'll move.
Support.
Get your quick. So, motion by Director Sorkin, second by Director Lotiger to 12.1.
What time?
It has to be after 6 o'clock, so. Typically what we've done is we've had that at 6 o'clock, and then whenever it finishes, we do the regular meeting.
Makes sense.
Any discussion?
But we have to put a time certain on the regular meeting.
Yeah.
We can't just say after.
Okay, any discussion on 12.1? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Twelve point two, discussion and appointment of board committees.
Mr. Chair, I would, we gotta get some of this stuff going, so we gotta, policy is always kind of cumbersome. I would just assume be able to meet with a group of 2 or 3 people maybe and discuss which ones need to be changed, whatever, and then bring a whole recommendation to the whole board. Staff Development and Academic Advisory Committee. Which one comes first, Paul? Academic Advisory?
Yes.
No.
We need to form that like pronto. We've got a lot of work to do. So we need someone from the board that's willing to do that. We have to advertise for public members.
Now, are you talking about separate, the Gilbert one yet, or the
Yes.
combined one?
We
Separate?
have to be separate for a little bit too.
Okay.
So I don't know how you guys want to handle that. I can put an ad in the paper looking for somebody from the community.
So are we discussing the academic advisory
Yeah.
committee first?
Right.
Do we have any individuals sitting at the table that are interested in doing it? And are you looking at for 1 or 2 board members?
Maybe
Well,
1 or 2 or 5.
Okay.
I don't-
So let me just say, so Jeff, so we're talking about the academic advisory committee, so 12.4 is invalid?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay,
Alright.
so just to clarify here. Academic Advisory Committee. Well, we have two things here. We already have bylaws for the Staff Development Committee on file, and I think we have some for Academic Advisory Committee, but I don't have them in my files. And statutorily, it's not a board committee, it's a teacher and a community committee, and there have been board members on it, like, say, 1. But it's supposed to be, if you can, a majority of community people. That's the way it's written in statute.
Well,
Okay?
I think that's what Jeff was asking for, was
Well-
just one board member and asking us for,
Like you
for
A few board members, but
guidance to do the advertisement. Correct?
Yeah.
So you're looking for a board member for the academic
We don't
advisory?
have to, but I mean, if somebody wants to sit on that thing, that's fine. I will put an ad in the paper looking for community members. We struggle, that we've advertised before, we struggle to get them. We struggle to get staff members on it, you know, so we try.
well, yes, you do, but I'd suggest you put them in the backpacks of the kids too, and just as much as we can, get that out, and
I
they have to.
agree. That's a
they have-
good idea.
I mean, you know, that's what it's all about, the community input. That's why it was written that way.
And things are a little different now.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think maybe we would see different involvement with where everything's heading
Mm-hmm.
from people. But I like the idea of sending something home with the students too.
Yeah, and as far and wide as we can.
Or the telephone announcements.
No. we can-
Yeah,
nobody
that's
listens to
another
it.
good one.
Channel 12, I mean, let's make a good effort of it. And, but before that, the board, the staff, the curriculum advisory committee works off of goals that the board set for the district. And, and so we haven't sat down as a board to do that either. So the first part of the process,
Well, we've been going off a strategic plan that was.
but that is
not
old and
expired.
outdated and it's changed and
Right.
those timelines never were met, and we have to reevaluate our goals in light of consolidation also.
Right.
So I think we need board directions. That's the way it trickles down in
All right,
statute.
we'll start there.
Okay. And I would be interested in academic advisory committee and staff development when it gets to that, because we do have those bylaws. We could resurrect those, or we could massage them.
So what do you want to do in 12.2, Jeff? A lot of discussion
I
on that,
am
and
going to bring that Jeff Olson was working with us with goals from MSD, but he got a job now.
Insinuating he didn't have a job before, but,
Well,
okay.
they convinced him in St. Peter to be superintendent again. I will find somebody to help us out with that. And I will advertise for academic advisory, looking for opinions on policy, how you want to handle that for the next,
I would be willing to sit on the policy committee.
I would too.
all right.
So what do you want me to do with 12.2 then, Jeff?
Nothing at the moment,
Okay, all right.
just a discussion.
I have a
Okay, all right.
question. Where are we at with our report to the state this year?
Where are we at?
I have to start looking at it. Haven't looked at it yet.
Did we have a committee this year?
Not yet.
And when's that due, December?
Yeah, 15.
How are we going to do a report when we haven't had a committee and we haven't had committee meetings?
I think
We'll work on
last
it.
year, Mr. Brainerd, did Mr. Brainerd do
No,
it
I
last
didn't do
year?
last year.
Well, that was the
2
year
years
before.
ago.
Doesn't year before.
The year before.
It hasn't gone well. All right,
Okay.
good enough to start. So you don't have to do 12.4,
12.3.
you gotta do 12.3.
12, okay, get a motion to set closed session for negotiation strategies for AFSMI.
I will make the motion.
Motion by Director Lotiger,
Support.
support by Director Sather. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 13.0 administrative report.
Can I get the motion and the
Battery's dead.
second?
Motion by,
Made the motion.
motion by
And seconded
Lotiger.
by me.
Okay.
All right. Watch a movie in between. This is like this. Oh well, nobody wants to wait for me anymore. Enrollment this year, today we are sitting at 886. We ended the year with 878 last year. And actually, since I wrote this morning, we're at 888. Straight eights across the board again. New kindergartner and a new first grader in today.
Actually, 3 more today added at the end.
You got more too?
Yeah. I think so. The
891,
ones
I
we
got one
discussed.
today. I got one today.
892.
Oh, man. Let's get an even 9 out of this thing by the end of the
What did you say last year was, 876?
878, we
878.
ended the year. I'll try one last time. No So, I emailed you earlier about the school business coordinator being, Virginia had posted that. They took applications. I did get invited to sit on interviews on Thursday, Angie and I did. And they also would like to have one board member sit on those interviews as well. Starts at 7:15 in the morning over in the Virginia boardroom.
I'm in the cities.
For what position did you say?
School business coordinator.
That's that big position.
I'd love to, but, you know, my
Monday,
situation.
she said Monday morning.
Thursday morning this week at 7:15.
And also in the cities.
I'm still sleeping.
That leaves me,
Looks like it's you, Polly.
that leaves me, do you want one, or are you just?
Yes,
it's a-
well, they have one, so we might have one.
I would like us to have one if you're able to.
Yeah.
Right, all right.
We have 9 applicants and 8 chose to interview.
Super excited about this position.
So, question. Whose bargaining unit will this be in, or will it be,
Yeah, I don't have anything else past that.
I mean, you know, this was a combined,
I heard it's a teacher, isn't it teachers union?
I've heard it was going to be in the
But
teachers,
that
yes,
doesn't make
I've
sense
heard that.
because there's only one teacher, that's why.
it's a
I know there's a ton of questions and,
it's a combined position.
right,
One district posted and advertised and pulled the applicants to be interviewed. Who's going, out of whose budget up till now will it be paid? Will it be under the joint money, the referendum money? What bargaining unit? Teachers,
I was told that
administrators?
Virginia is gonna pay for it.
Out of their own. So then this person will be their employee, and then coming into a consolidation, will that person automatically be the person in that position? Or that's, I guess, assumed. So
Yeah.
I think we next need to start working together on a lot of these things instead of unilateral decisions being made.
That's a good point.
I agree too. More meetings, or this should happen
Well,
through
and
the
I-
joint powers.
I mean, yes, and I think that was kind of the conversation that we had with, not even just this position, but with the purchase of the Spectrum land, or
Yeah.
different things that now that we do have this joint powers
We
board
can't be,
formed, I do expect that any of those kinds of decisions that would be working in conjunction with our academy, that it's coming through the joint powers.
So when
I
you
agree.
say you understand it will be a Virginia employee, can it not at this point be a joint powers employee? Period.
Could be.
And it should, I think it
I
should.
think it should be too.
So then maybe putting it, so sitting in with the interviews and recommending that the final decision go before the joint powers board to approve.
And I don't even know about the job description. That did not go through the joint powers board as far as the job description.
I guess that was my question, and that's why I sent Jeff an email saying, did this get posted? Because I know that you had sent the email before that Virginia had approved it and posted it, but I was trying to find in Virginia's board book to see if I could see when they approved this position.
I don't know that the board did.
It didn't, because I didn't find it in anything that I looked, so that was when I sent you the email.
I thought I found it. It was months ago,
I
a few
s-
months ago.
I saw the copy, the draft copy that we had seen at the collaborative, but I didn't see anything after that. Okay.
Well, on those notes, so
So-
just a reminder that on the 16th, we do have our next joint board meeting, 6 o'clock at the Northeast Service Co-op.
I can't be there for that. I'm in the cities again.
Okay, when you,
It's just, it's the joint powers board. no?
Oh, joint, okay,
Okay.
I'm on.
So backing up a little bit, what are we doing about this position?
I'm gonna go sit on an interview on Thursday, see what
Jeff-
happens.
No, I mean about about it being, the person being hired under the joint powers board agreement and funds.
Can that be a conversation that you would be having with Noel? I mean, because it's gonna have to, I mean, we'll still interview, but that should be sorted out beforehand. I mean,
I know that's a conversation, but we have to come up with a position as a board on that. Or a direction. Or if it comes up at the joint powers meeting on your agenda, it would have to be voted on at that point in time. But going into that,
It just, I'm sitting here feeling a little bit frustrated about the same thing that you are. I mean, these things that are involving our joint efforts should not be coming just from one district. We should be getting that information. I mean, the job description, the information about the interviews, all of that should be going through the Joint Powers Board. I don't know. I'm just feeling a little frustrated, like we're out of the loop, and this is a major decision for our school
It's a huge
district
position.
Major position, yeah.
you know, as well. And so, again, whether it's having more joint collaboration meetings or more joint powers meetings, we all need to be getting the same information as one team.
Correct. But didn't we have a discussion at the collaborative meetings that eventually our board meetings will become almost like regular, you know?
Well, then let's start making them happen, because
Yeah,
it's
we're gonna
it's
make them, you know, instead
frustrating.
of having like, you know, Eveleth Gilbert meeting and then a Virginia meeting, we're just gonna all meet together.
No, I don't think there was any, that was thrown out, but I don't think there was any.
Well, now that you have a joint powers board, there's a elimination for a lot of that.
You're right, I mean, the joint powers board should be making those decisions. Hopefully it'll clear itself up when it's formed and
I was gonna say, I
I
can
will-
tell you,
I'm
I
gonna
would be
send an
questioning
email.
every single time.
I'm gonna
at that
send an
Joint
email.
Powers Act.
Myself.
I
I'll send an
wasn't
email
gonna
about
say
it.
anything here, I was gonna frankly save it for next Monday's meeting, but I feel very much that the purchase of the Spectrum property was, I mean, they have a special board meeting 2 business days before our first joint powers meeting, when they knew that we had approved the joint powers board, we had approved the joint powers agreement, and frankly, I have some questions still over buying a piece of real estate that you don't have any control over for 8 years.
In the name
and
of
how
one
that
district.
happened. It's frustrating, I agree.
I agree.
And I mean, when I saw the schematic in July about, which is at the joint meeting when I watched it on tape, I mean, I thought to me it was too good to be true, that I didn't think at all that we'd be talking about that particular parcel that the building was on.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you can do that and you can get it done in a budget neutral way and utilize that as part of our campus was wonderful. But now we bought it and the whole 8 acres you can't use.
I agree, because the initial discussion when we had it did not factor in any of that. It was utilizing what was there without,
And the initial
with
part-
that building remaining and tearing just down that garage piece of it that was on
And
there.
the initial correspondence that we got said that the existing tenant would be there through this current school year. It didn't say anything about the next 7 years.
Right.
And we should be starting to get financial reports of the funds that, you know, have from
And
the
that's-
referendum.
I think Polly had asked that at the collaborative, and they said they would start providing.
And you know what, you know, we could just morph into board member topics, fine, but you know, it's okay, Bill, that we're kind of getting off into this, but I did ask for financials, and Jeff gave it to me today, and I've got one sheet, I don't know, it's in my pile somewhere, but it's very vague, and it, it doesn't tell what the money's being spent for. It's got a little bit about the interest and about what we've spent, and I think we need very much more. I talked to Jeff about this today.
I didn't write it.
No, I know. I requested it of Spencer, and he sent it to you guys, and I got it from you. But I think it needs to be more specific. That money, we sold the bonds in July, and I think we need to get, like, both of our boards are getting for our district. Now we've got some combined money. We need to be getting more detailed financial.
I agree.
I think I'm adding it to,
So-
for the Joint Powers Board, requesting that be a standing agenda item
Yeah.
on our Joint Powers Board, to receive monthly statements
Yeah.
on the expenditures and everything.
That
And
goes
just-
out to everybody, and that'll bring, and
Yes.
I'll weigh into that right now, that on this meeting on September 16th at 6 o'clock at the Joint Service Call, now it's been brought up to me by a few of the board members that, you know, and I don't weigh in this on either way, but the board members that are alternates should be sitting at that table to keep abreast, even though we don't have a vote. I don't know how you guys feel.
We talked about that and that was
I mean,
expected.
a few of the members had, because one alternate said that he didn't want to sit at the table, then all of a sudden just everybody agreed on, well,
He
I don't
just
think
meant
everybody
sitting at the
agreed on
table.
it. It just
Yeah.
kind of passed, and there
Right.
wasn't, I mean, there has
Because
to
he
be
was-
some sort of a, I don't know if it's
I mean-
bylaws that we need to adopt, or
I don't even know my role as an alternate. What is my,
You're
to
there,
vote if one of the regular members is.
right, I understand, but what
you're
are,
there to, this is what I think. You're expected
Okay.
to be at those joint powers
Mhm.
meetings so that you know what's going on. And then if myself, Kelly, or Matt are gonna be gone, we contact you to sit at the table
okay,
as an alternate
Well, I
for
don't-
us.
right,
I
And you
believe-
make, if there's any voting going on then, you make that vote because you're the alternate sitting in. That's what I think.
so, but
And I was okay either way, whether you guys sat at the table or outside the table, but I think the expectation is still there that you are attending those meetings.
Tim was
So-
just saying, I don't need to sit at the table. I can sit here in the audience, and to me, that's fine too. You know, that's all he was saying.
Right.
And
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
importance of it or not, as long as you got the information, because other board members will be sitting in there too, just as
And
observers, as
I
I
agree,
will.
I agree on that.
So-
Like, I don't necessarily know if it's necessary to sit at the table, but being there and being present and hearing the information and taking it in is what's
I always
valuable
expected
piece.
the alternates would have a spot at the table, personally.
Yeah.
That's my thought, my opinion.
So maybe that's
So,
something
but
we
with
need to
having a spot at the
revisit.
table, that automatically brings in engagement in the conversation. Is there a role to engage in the
Yeah, that's
conversation in the
there.
moment? That's
That
the question.
crosses the line.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's, because I
crosses the
can
line.
tell you, if I'm sitting at the table,
You-
you're
you-
gonna hear my voice.
Yeah.
you're gonna-
Like, I would be better off sitting in the audience,
No,
or
I
else
mean,
I'm
you're-
gonna participate.
I think you're viewed then as the official person at the table, because even we had Mr. George, what's his name, and was gonna sit at the table, and he was escorted away from the table at the last meeting,
Yeah.
because he wasn't part of the board, yeah. Not, here nor there.
I
just-
think sitting outside
Yeah.
the table would be fine though.
okay.
I
Well,
mean,
no, I
you know, I
just,
mean,
there were just some comments
I
that
was
were made
just-
by some board members on both sides.
but I think
of
that's,
the district that thought that we should be at the, but I'm just saying, I mean, I don't,
Nothing wrong
either way,
to-
either way, it
yes,
doesn't matter to
it's
me.
good to be clarified.
I'm just going by the advice of some board members that have mentioned that, that's all, you know? And then how we get our information, that's that's another thing. I mean, if we, you know, if we're not at the meeting, are we gonna get minutes of that meeting so we can stay?
you should be.
Okay, so
I
we
think
can
you
stay
should
on
be
top.
getting everything that the
should
regular
Should all
joint powers board
get
members
that
are getting.
information.
Yeah,
That
you
would
should
be,
get
that would be
everything.
my assumption, is that all board members, I'm writing it down.
Yeah.
I'll bring
Okay.
that up on Monday, but that would be my thing, is that all board members would be
Because,
receiving the
you know what,
Mm-hmm.
there's not even a question about it, because it's public information, period. So the board, you know, the public can
But
get it.
even like beforehand too, and receiving just as what we would do for
Yeah.
preemptive planning of it, that everyone would receive that too.
And I assume the meetings will be recorded also, and I mean,
They will be.
Yeah, that's probably just the first
I'll
one.
write it down, though, Phil.
Okay.
We-
Here.
And in a bigger
Recording.
room.
We did, yeah, we did contact Board Book to see if they'd be willing to let us have another, because we already have 2 accounts between the 2 of us. They're thinking about it, but either way, I mean, we'll figure something out so that we can have.
All right, so now that that was all said, okay, you said there's gonna be a meeting at the 16th at the Service Co-op. Anything else, Jeff?
Well, I was gonna tell you that we're up to 77 students, so it was in kindergarten, so that was a good decision to split that thing. Even at that, I mean, there's still almost 20 in each class. It's full.
Nice.
So it's a good problem to have. We did have 5 different staff members in the Franklin move grades this year, and they were all pretty excited about it. It's scary at the same time, but they're handling it well, and kids are handling it well. Kids are creatures of habits too. They weren't real sure what to make of the sticking and being in 3rd grade. But it's been good, a good start to the year. We didn't lose any kids on the first day, that's always a positive. Everyone got home Everyone got there. I mean, it's been good so far, so it's great climate up there right now.
Okay,
You guys have anything to add that's not?
I had a few nice slides, but we can cover it another time. Thank you.
And
We have 6 foreign exchange students. So, yeah.
they come too?
I met a couple, or not met, I FaceTimed with one.
Oh,
Got to meet her.
they're all females.
Spain's a
haven't had a-
popular place to
I
send
haven't had a
students.
male foreign exchange student since I've been here. They're always female.
Oh, we had one in my graduating
Did you?
class. What other school, or what other countries do we have them from?
Thailand is one.
Oh, I didn't know.
Spain, Brazil, and I can't remember where the other ones are.
Yeah, that's right.
nice.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Chair. Continue on with.
Okay, and 14.0, any public comment? We have none. 15.0, board member topics. We'll start with John.
Nothing tonight.
Pat?
Nothing for me.
Randy?
I don't think I have anything today.
Kelly? I have nothing.
I probably do, but I don't.
Okay. Okay, all right. So moving on to 6.0 adjournment. Can I get a motion to?
No.
Nope.
Oh,
Closed
Closed
session.
session.
okay, that's
So
right.
take a break.
Take a break and then we'll come back and go into closed session.